The fraught cultural politics of Disney's new Aladdin remake. The new live-action Aladdin can't fully overcome the tale's complicated history. Disney's live-action Aladdin, a remake of its 1992 animated film, has finally arrived in theaters, and on one level, it's something of an achievement. The production, helmed by Guy Ritchie, had a hefty amount of cultural baggage to overcome, and has been dogged by controversy and skepticism over its premise and execution since before filming even began. The story's exoticism, a xenophobic view of other cultures, or people from those cultures, as being somehow strange, unfathomable, or alien, is entrenched in that framing. A specific flavor of exoticism is Orientalism, an idea famously conceptualized by Edward Said. Said was a leading figure in early post-colonial research, and in his 1978 book Orientalism, he outlined literary and narrative tropes that US and European writers used, and still use, to portray Asia and the Middle East as bizarre, regressive, and innately opaque and impossible to understand. The othering of these cultures often takes the form of romanticized depictions of these regions as mysterious or mystic fantasy lands, framed through a colonial perspective. What's fascinating about the origins of this tale is that, even though 1001 Nights has been traditionally translated in English as Arabian Nights, the original story was set not in the Arab world, but in China. Early 19th and 20th century versions of the story clearly show Aladdin as culturally Asian. The Council on American Islamic Relations issued a press release earlier this week asking reviewers and critics to acknowledge that the Aladdin myth is rooted by racism, Orientalism and Islamophobia, and to address concerns about racial and religious stereotypes perpetuated by the new Disney film. Most people think that the story of Aladdin comes from the original 1001 Nights tales, which is a collection of traditional Middle Eastern and Asian folklore. But in fact, Aladdin isn't a traditional folktale, it has a different history, and it's one that's still causing controversy today. The tale of Aladdin is born from a hodgepodge of cultural influences, each with an Orientalist viewpoint. Aladdin had no known source before French writer Antoine Galland stuck it into his 18th century translation of 1001 Nights. Galland claimed to have heard it firsthand from a Syrian storyteller, but claiming your original story came from an exotic faraway source is a common literary device, and it's likely this Syrian storyteller never existed. In other words, a French guy with a European colonial view of Asia gave us the original Aladdin.